Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, Arsenal 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. What did you make of that? Bit underwhelming, would you say?
Yeah, lacklustre, underwhelming. Wolves were way off it, the first 13 minutes, weren't they? Saka goal after 6 minutes, Odegaard after 13. The Gunners in cruise control, Wolves all over the place, all at sea defensively, can't get a foot on the ball. Eventually in that half they do get a foot on the ball and they regain a bit of control, a bit of possession, but they do very, very little with it. They were very quiet going forward. I thought Huang was very quiet today, and he's not the only one. So disappointing, very disappointing. Second half, the word we both used was passive. It was boring to be honest. It was a terrible watch.
Bad watch.
Arsenal had a couple of chances but didn't really have to get out first gear. Wolves were very poor with the ball as well as without it, without making a lot of mistakes, but just not a lot was happening really. And then out of nowhere, 86th minute, Matheus Cunha scores. The fact that he's getting a couple of goals now is a positive. Yeah. We're going to drag a positive out of the game, and the game comes to life a little bit. Instantly after scoring, and Nketiah has an absolute sitter and hits the post. So Wolves get lucky in that regard, but they threw it. The kitchen sink at it at the end, tried to get a winner or an equaliser rather, couldn't find it, and deserved really. Wolves shouldn't have got anything today.
Yeah, too little, too late for me. They started playing in the 80th minute, and frustratingly, like you say, I know they're missing the two main midfielders, centre midfielders, and they're missing Pedro Neto, but at the same time, the least you'd expect to come here, especially where they've been playing recently, is to have a go. And it just felt like, I know that Hugo Bueno, started today instead of Doc, and they sat back a little bit, but it was just so passive. There was no pressing there. Whether that was by design or not, I'm not too sure. But like you say, Arsenal at times, it was almost like a pre-season game.
Yeah, I think it was by design. I mean, I'm speaking for Gary O'Neill here without having done the press conference yet. It felt to me like Wolves were trying to play a low block, trying to frustrate Arsenal, but that low block goes out the window within 6 minutes.
Well, 2-0 down.
Exactly. And then after 13 minutes, 2-0 down. So there was just not a lot of energy in the game, and Tommy Doyle couldn't get on the ball in midfield. Bukayo Saka was a passenger, to be brutally honest. I know I mentioned Huang, I thought he was quiet, but Bellegarde really quiet as well. And when you can't get these players into the game, you're going to struggle to have not only any control, but also any threat really. Wolves had zero threat. I thought Matheus Cunha did quite well actually, leading the line completely on his own. Obviously getting his goal in the end, but he had no one there really to support him.
Did you feel substitution wise that it was the right time to bring them on? Do you feel, Kalajic came on eventually, but they were ready to come on. Do you think maybe there should be some changes earlier in this?
Probably about right, to be honest. Torreira and Kalajic were ready 85th, 86th minute, and then Cunha scores, and they have to sit down. Torreira obviously just won at all in the end for his debut, and then Kalajic comes on in the 92nd, 93rd. So you've not got a lot of time to impact the game there, but I thought Sarabia and Doherty substitutions at the time were the right ones. Again, didn't think Sarabia did a lot, to be honest, when he came on. I thought Doc did okay. But you've got to play what's in front of you, and unfortunately the massive hangover here for Gary O'Neill is that he didn't have Lamina, Gomez, Neto, Aït-Nouri. These are big players in his starting 11 that would have started today.
Yeah, an interesting narrative that you say Torreira was ready to come on and they pulled the goal back and he didn't come on in the end, but he was coming on at 2-0 down with Kalajic. That was ahead of Fabio Silva, which regardless of whether he came on or not is quite damning, you'd see.
Yeah, it's obvious that Gary O'Neill wants to give Torreira an opportunity, and at 2-0 down at Arsenal, we're probably not going to come back into it. It's a big stadium, big moment for him as a young lad, 20 years old. I could understand why he goes with him and gives him that opportunity. Does he do that against Burnley or Nottingham Forest? If Wolves are 2-0 down on either goal? Probably not. So I understand it in that sense. But you are right, it's a massive message to say, I'm not quite having you at the moment.
No, with January around the corner as well.
And that's been pretty obvious for a bit of time now. It feels to me like there's not really a solution here other than perhaps a departure in January. There's a lot of time to go before then, but there's a lot of games actually, and maybe make that clear, there's a lot of games before then as well. But to not come on today and not get a chance as well as against Fulham as well is not great.
Yeah, look, a lot of people saw it as a free hit today, and it was to a certain extent. At the same time, disappointing in the way that the game worked out. However, you look now towards Burnley and Nottingham Forest, two home games on the bounce, Tuesday and Saturday. Mario Lamina back, João Gomez. I'm sure both of those guys walk into this starting lineup. I'm absolutely shows how important Mario Lamina was today. Actually, we'll wait to see whether Pedro Neto is involved or not. But these are two games. Ironically, Burnley winning 5-0 today against Sheffield United. But those are the games where you want to be picking up. Well, I'm going to say 6 points, Liam. 4 points minimum and 6 points. Those are the games that you need to be really getting some points on the board.
I was going to say 4 minimum as well. Anything less than that is a disappointment. And the way Wolves have played this season, the runs they've been on this season, they should actually, it sounds maybe a little bit disrespectful, but fairly comfortably get through.
I agree.
I think Wolves are a far better team than these two teams coming up. So it'll be interesting, but obviously Burnley got a result, as you say, and regardless of where Forest are in terms of form and fitness and availability, that'll be a spicy one regardless because of last season anyway. So that'll be a little bit nervy as a game. So, but Wolves are at home. Their home form's been a lot better this season. Well, no, Lopetegui was good, but it's sort of continued. It's been good this season. The atmosphere's been really good. The fans have been behind the players have been performing. With a few of these players back, as you mentioned, I think I'm backing Wolves to do well in these two games, but they have to do well. They need to do well. They're massive fixtures.
Yeah, like I said, Gomez, Lamina will come straight back into the starting lineup. I guess the one question mark, and you'll be asking Gary Neal afterwards, was Jose Sarr went off injured, 2-0 down, and then obviously it looked like a problem with his back, and that'll be interesting because they could do with it their number one going into these two games.
Yeah, you never know what the severity is like. You would like to think
spasms, hopefully, or something.
Yeah, you would like to think it's fairly minor. He did play on for maybe 5 minutes or so before coming off, and made a big save actually in that time as well. It's not the end of the world because as much as I like Jose Sarr's football, I think Dan Bentley's a good number two. So I think he did well today when he came on. Bentley didn't particularly do anything wrong. So it's not the end of the world, but yes, you want your fixed starting 11 there, and Sarr has got the number one shirt. It's the same with a player like Aït-Nouri. Gary Neal seems to imply that he may be back in this week coming up. Whether that's Burnley or not is tough to say. If you get him back for any of these two games, that's a massive plus as well. Yeah. So, and also, you can't really afford to lose too many more.
No,
Wolves have got a slim squad as it is, and losing 4, 5, 6 players is really going to damage that.
Arsenal 2, Wolves 1 for all the post-match reaction. Make sure you log on to expressthestar.com.